What's up, everybody? You're very welcome to this recording of myself and Jack. Instead of a late night agenda, we thought we'd just come on and do a pre-recorded conversation around lots of different things. But Jack, the big news today, mate, is that Trent Alexander-Arnold seems to be left out of Gareth Southgate's England squad.
Baffled me, mate. Absolutely. I can kind of get it because, well, no, actually, I can't get it. I think everyone knows Trent hasn't been himself this season. He had no pre-season. Obviously, he had COVID during pre-season, that very short pre-season this year. And then he went to, obviously, he picked up an injury very early on in the season. It was very stop-start. But recently, I think in the wins against West Ham and Spurs, you saw Trent Alexander-Arnold getting back towards the top of his game. I thought he was brilliant against Wolves the other night too. And I just think it's absurd that he's been left out of the England squad. For me, no matter how competitive the position is at right back for England, you're talking about the best, if not definitely top three right backs in the world in Trent Alexander-Arnold, and it just absolutely baffles me that Southgate's not put him in the squad.
Yeah, it is an odd one because, look, as you've said, there is competition there. There's some very good right backs coming through to the English system. We got to give credit there. Like, there is an increased competition in Wan-Bissaka, Reece James, Lamptey when he's back. There's loads. There's loads of positions, and I'm probably missing out some obvious players there as well who
Matty Cash.
Yeah, there's loads. Like, there's probably 6, 7 decent right backs that he could look at. But there's a comment on Twitter that made me laugh, and I want to run it past you because I purposely haven't said it to you yet because I want to get your initial reaction. So this is in response to Henry Winter, who put up, broke the news to say that Trent's been left out of the team. So the comment is, not a good idea to pick a player who's clearly playing in a failing toxic team. Got to trust Gareth. Perhaps Trent Alexander-Arnold will look to move away in the summer. Then he can get back into the England squad.
Well, that's just a nonsense comment, isn't it? I think Trent will be at Liverpool for the rest of his career, and there's lots of talk about whether he'll evolve, whether his position will change, because he has reinvented the role of a fullback, really. Both him and Robertson with the system that we have done over the last few years, and for me, I just think it's a poor decision from Southgate, and I get it. And I know he spoke today about Ayling and Matty Cash and saying that there's just so many right backs. But as I say, you're talking one of the best right backs in world football, and you're looking at Kyle Walker. I believe he's in the squad. Kyle Walker. He's hardly played football this year. He's been in and out of the side. He's City's second choice right back really now. João Cancelo's had such a good season. And I just find it really bizarre, mate. But for me, it's part of a wider problem because, watching England in the past, Southgate's never really known how to use Trent Alexander-Arnold. At times he's brought him on in midfield. And for me, I think it's more an issue with, Southgate rather than the abilities of Trent Alexander-Arnold. But you know what, mate? He's Scouse, not English anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I was going to be my next point. As Liverpool fans, we really couldn't give a shiny shite if Gareth Southgate picks him or not. It's more for just him, for his confidence that I was thinking about this. But look, I'm sure Klopp will wrap an arm around the shoulder, and Trent knows how good he is. We know how good he is. I think even the wider football world, whether you're a United fan who rates Aaron Wan-Bissaka, a Chelsea fan who rates Reece James, everybody will acknowledge that Trent is right up there.
Yeah, and everyone will breathe a sigh of relief as well. And for Trent, I think maybe it could be a good thing because maybe it's a kick up the arse for him if he wants to be in that European Championship squad in the summer. He knows now that his position clearly isn't safe in that England squad, and maybe we'll see the best of Trent now in the last few Premier League games of the season. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this may be the best thing for him because it may be that, he's dying for a break and we don't play till the 4th of April now. So, he can have that break, he can chill and hopefully, he doesn't come back with any injury problems. So, yeah, when I saw that England squad and, for I think it's 3 World Cup qualifiers, and when I saw it with no Liverpool players in, I've seen a lot of people annoyed on Twitter, but it was a breath of relief for me, because I think a lot of our lads need a break. I think as well as that, I think just knowing that we don't have to worry about this player and that player coming back from the international break with injuries, with our injury list that we've had this season.
Going to transfer news now, we seem to be linked with never-ending amounts of players, varying from Kylian Mbappe right down to the other end of the spectrum. And one player that's been breaking in the news in the last 24 hours has been Berge. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we were linked with him before he moved to Sheffield United, weren't we? Where from his time in Belgium, and back then, obviously, from his career at Sheffield United, you wouldn't think so, but he was playing in the Champions League. He looked a real good young talent. He's playing in, he's adapted to a different kind of role under Chris Wilder at Sheffield United. I wouldn't be too convinced about this deal, but it would be a typical Liverpool signing, getting a midfield player on the cheap from a team going down.
We definitely have form in that, don't we? Michael Edwards has form in that area.
Yeah, and I don't think he's a bad player. I do think the system at Sheffield United hasn't helped him adjust to Premier League football, and I do think he is he's clearly got qualities, and that's why before he went to Sheffield United, there were some top clubs with their eye on him, but Sheffield United clearly won the battle. They're going down, and I have no doubt that there'll be quite a few clubs sniffing around Sander Berge in the summer.
And again, I want to switch it up back over to international football, but this time to my neck of the woods. And Caoimhín Kelleher looks like he could potentially be, one, he's back from injury, which is great, but he could be about to get his first senior start for Ireland. And, I'm friends and grew up playing football with the Irish under-21 goalkeeping coach who's been helping Caoimhín Kelleher come through. My wife was in secondary school with him, and I've played second fiddle to him coming through myself, to this particular lad, because he was a better keeper than me, I'll be honest with you. But that'll be cracking news. That'll be great for him and his confidence levels. And I'm also intrigued to see what the plan is for Kelleher next season at the club.
Yeah, well, what a rise for him over the last few months. I think going into the season, obviously, I do stuff for the academy channels and talk about, the youngsters at Liverpool and elsewhere. And we've often spoke about Kelleher, and when Adrian was number 2 and making howlers, I wondered if we needed to sign, a better third choice to put his position under pressure, Adrian. But I anticipated a loan move for Kelleher before this season. But no, fair play to him, all credit to him, because he stuck around. He's made that number 2 position his own. And now I don't think there's a Liverpool fan out there that would put Adrian over Kelleher. And now, not only has he become Liverpool's number 2 at the moment, he's about to get his first cap for Ireland. So, it's been a good few months for Kelleher. I think it is a big talking point. We know Adrian's likely to leave in the summer, and will Liverpool bring a goalkeeper in? But I wouldn't be against Kelleher staying around and being Liverpool's number 2 to go into next season.
Yeah, I suppose the big question there is, and for those that aren't aware, by the way, Caoimhín Kelleher played as a forward at Ringmahon Rangers. He was 15 years of age. That just goes to show how amazing this transition through has been. But I suppose the big question is, Jack, if he does stay around as the number 2, is he going to get enough experience, let's say, to keep Stephen Kenny, the Irish national team manager, happy that when the qualifiers come around, he'll be getting enough football? And will it perhaps stunt his progression? We've seen this happen over and over with Liverpool keepers coming through the system before, and it's a tough balancing act. You can make an argument for bringing in a backup keeper for us for a year to get him experience, but you can equally make a backup to say keep him at the club, play him in the FA Cup, play him in the League Cup or the Europa League if the worst happens to happen and we're in that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You make a good point there, and I think that will probably be in the back of Kelleher's mind too. I do worry with Alisson's injury history over the last couple of years that maybe we need a stronger goalkeeper than Kelleher as the number 2. But I only say that because I don't doubt Kelleher's ability. But, he doesn't really have too much experience, does he? And I think you look at teams like Manchester United, who have De Gea, Henderson, Romero, just an abundance of goalkeeping options. And I just think with as I say, the injury history Alisson's had over the last couple of seasons, maybe Liverpool will be tempted to go into the market and sign a better number two. But yeah, I do think the ball will be in Kelleher's court as well, because, like you say, he may want to play regular first team football somewhere else. And from what we've seen from him this season, and from what I've seen from him, the last few seasons when he's played for our youth sides, he's got the ability to do that. And it's whether he'll be happy playing second fiddle to Alisson at Liverpool, or whether he wants to become, a first choice keeper elsewhere. Because I remember talking about Camille Grabara a couple of seasons ago, and saying about him and his loan move to the Championship, and how he can see that as an opportunity to come back and force his way into Klopp's plans and become Liverpool's number two. And he replied to the video saying, not being funny, but every goalkeeper wants to be number one. Nobody wants to come back and be number two. And Kelleher might have exactly the same feeling, and I have no doubt that there'll be offers from other clubs, because he's a good goalkeeper.
He certainly is. And something was brought up to me yesterday during my late night agenda show, and I wanted to get your take on it, because I've genuinely got no idea where this started from. But apparently there's word or rumor going around that the Liverpool players don't like the new AXA training facility. Now, I'm not sure what there is to unlike about it. I'm not even sure where the story came from, but there was enough people asking me about it yesterday that I started to think, how could they not be? It's a world-class facility. We've seen the tour Oxlade-Chamberlain gave of it. We've seen the players, being shown around it. We've seen the facilities that are there. And yes, Melwood will always have a special place in everybody's hearts, but this pushes the club on. This is Klopp's vision.
Yeah, I've not seen that personally, but I assume it's bollocks. And I assume it's just lazy journalism. Liverpool's form hasn't been great since we've moved to the AXA training centre. So maybe the players don't like it. We know in football some players have their voodoos, and maybe some of the players have started to wonder whether the move into a different training facility is part of the reason. But no, I think it's bollocks, Craig. I think you've seen the complex looks incredible. I like how it's bridged the gap between the first team and the academy. It was so good today to see Ben Woodburn back in training with the first team, Mateusz Musialowski, who is an incredible...
Oh, what a goal. What a goal, by the way, that he scored.
He has. I hate comparing young players to players like this, but there is elements in terms of his dribbling anyway, him on the ball. There is, comparisons to Lionel Messi with his running style and him in possession of the ball. And yeah, I really like
Don't say comparisons to Lionel Messi in front of your man from F2, by the way, because there'll be war. You're not allowed to mention that. Did you see that the Happy Hour podcast recently with Roman Kemp on it? That clip had me in stitches, honestly. One of the two guys, one of them, I mean, come on, it's Messi, man. Sorry for going off topic, but Connor sent it to me last night and I was rolling around the floor. Roman Kemp, by the way, seems like an absolute gent of a fella.
Yeah, I didn't realise he went to school with this. Simon and JJ as well. That was interesting to hear on Happy Hour. But yeah, he seems like a sound guy, and yeah, I just really like Mateusz Musialowski, and it's good to see that now we've got that facility. Klopp can keep an eye on these young talents, and when he likes what he sees, he can call them to training. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up, being as this was the news show as well, Craig. Leighton Stewart, who has been in fine form for our youth sides the last couple of years, went off on a stretcher at the weekend against West Ham, had to receive what looked like oxygen with a knee injury, and it's been confirmed as an ACL injury, which is just a nightmare, because I was really impressed with what I'd seen in Leighton Stewart. I thought he was not far away from a debut for Liverpool and our first team. And like we saw with Paul Glatzel, there's a big injury there for him, and it's going to be a long road to recovery for him now. And fingers crossed, best wishes go out to him and his family, because it's just awful news this week about Leighton Stewart.
It absolutely is, and I'm sure Van Dijk, Gomez, Oxlade-Chamberlain, they'll all be having a positive word in his ear. I can't let you go though, Jack, without talking about the sexy news of the week, and we've only got about 5 or 6 minutes left. But LeBron James, he's becoming he already owns a 2% stake in Liverpool Football Club through his partnership with FSG before, but we've got the Redbird acquisition that looks like it's going through, and LeBron James will be taking an increased stake, an undisclosed amount, but an extra increased stake in FSG's overall holdings. I think they just need Major League Baseball approval first for that to go through. But what are your thoughts on this and the potential ramifications?
It's really interesting, isn't it? I think we've seen that LeBron, he's clearly a fan of Liverpool. He's spoken in the past about that, and as you say, he's had shares in the club for a while. We saw with the deal with Nike that involved LeBron James, and when the kit first came out, I remember him rocking up to games wearing the kit, and it definitely.
He wore it well as well. To be fair, suited him.
Anything suits LeBron James. What a man! But it's brilliant because he's one of the biggest names in America, and to have someone like him, and the deal with Nike will just. From a business point of view, just raises our profile in other countries. I think, it sounds like good news, doesn't it?
Yeah, and again, I've delved as deep as I can into this, and from what I can gather, LeBron has aspirations of owning an NBA team when he's finished. I think that FSG have aspirations of helping him achieve that. They want to buy an NFL side, and also Jerry Cardinal, who's coming on as part of the Redbird acquisition, has recently teamed up with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to relaunch the XFL, and they're going to be launching a spring season. So, I think this is the way that our owners are going to go forward. We know Toulouse, obviously, 85%, I believe, owned by Jerry Cardinal. Are we going to start seeing, I don't want to say feeder clubs, but partner clubs around the world pop up or be purchased?
I think we spoke about it a few weeks ago, but I definitely think that's the way forward in terms of, everything that's gone on with Brexit and things like that, and seeing how well it's worked for City and the City Football Group. I do think things like this are the way forwards, and we know FSG for some of their faults that they've had since, running this club. They're very, very good businessmen. They're very switched on. And they often get things right, and hopefully this is another step in the right direction from them.
And what do you think, real quick, about this $750 million 10% sale? Do you think that any of that will be coming our way with regards to transfers in the summer? Now, obviously, we're not expecting all of it. They've got other interests to look after. They probably want to put a few bob in their own pockets as well. But we are hopeful.
Yeah, I've spoken in the last few weeks about this. I think this summer is huge for this football club, and I do think it's dependent on whether or not we're in the Champions League next season for a lot of the deals. I've seen something today from I think is it Paul Gorst on Twitter saying that Liverpool are expecting a quiet summer. But
I'm sick of him. I've got to put it out there. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of him and his bad news. Honestly, I'm nothing against the man as an individual or as a human being, but it's always negative. Everything I see is negative.
But yeah, it's one of them. We're just going to have to be patient. And for me now, it's annoying me talking about summer signings because we've still got so much to do left this season. We've got to finish in a strong position in the league after what has been a poor run of form recently. We look like we're about to put a lot of our eggs in the Champions League basket as well. A lot of supporters are seeing that as something we could be successful in this season. So yeah, I don't like looking forward to the summer at this moment in time. But I think, as I say, because of how important I believe this summer will be for the football club, fingers crossed that as much of that money as possible is pumped back into summer signings.
I think that about ties us up. But look, I want to just remind everyone the Anfield Agenda podcast came out on Wednesday. It was myself, Jack Gill, Steve Bland. We sat down, had a really good chat. That's out there on Acast, iTunes, Spotify, and everywhere else you can get your podcasts. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, folks. We are closing in on that 100K end of season target. About 16,000 or so to go. massive thank you to Jack. And Jack, I think you've got some Mundo Sporto stuff as well coming up, or you've got the Mundo Sporto podcast that you're recording and have just launched recently.
Yeah, so we're recording the Mundo Sporto podcast later this week because I'm going to do it about the Champions League draw. But yeah, it's something I'm really enjoying doing. And yeah, if you've not checked Mundo Sporto out, make sure you do, because, you know, if you want to see more football content and not just Liverpool content, then that's the channel for you.
There you go. Thank you as always, folks. Don't forget to drop a like on the video. We'd love to know your thoughts on everything that we spoke about today. And we will chat to you soon. Take care and up the Reds.